In the year 1333, Tokiyuki is being chased by several men who want him to attend archery practice. He ignores them and misbehaves, angering many nobles who are trying to send off Takaoji. Takaoji eventually finds Tokiyuki hiding and tells him he's leaving for Kyo to suppress a rebellion and show loyalty to the Hojo family. Takaoji departs, and Tokiyuki is confronted by a girl named Kyoko, who reminds him that one day he'll become the rightful heir to the shogunate. She even plans for them to marry. Tokiyuki, uninterested in status, runs away, thinking people will call him lazy or cowardly. Later, Tokiyuki meets his older brother on a rooftop, where they discuss their father's legacy and Tokiyuki's future role. Tokiyuki doesn't want the shogunate, and when the two men from earlier find him, he leaps off the roof and escapes. He ends up on a cherry blossom tree, contemplating his fate. Suddenly, Tokiyuki is startled by a priest named Yorishige Suwa, who has traveled to Kamakura to pray for its protection. Yorishige, with his ability to see into the future, reveals that Tokiyuki will become a great hero who will change his country's destiny. Despite Tokiyuki's doubts, Yorishige says he will help him. Soon after, Tokiyuki's world crumbles. His father, Takatoki, and many others die in a mass suicide, and Tokiyuki wants to end his life too. But Yorishige stops him and pushes him off a cliff to save him. Tokiyuki survives, evades the samurai hunting him, and joins Yorishige and his assistant Shizuku on a journey to build allies and strength. Tokiyuki's brother, Kunitoki, is hiding in the forest when Tokiyuki's uncle, Muneshige, finds him. Muneshige reveals that Yorishige plans to help Tokiyuki escape Kamakura. When low-ranking samurai arrive, Muneshige tells them that Kunitoki is Takatoki's son, betraying the family just like Takaoji did. Meanwhile, Tokiyuki has a nightmare, and Yorishige teases him about it. Tokiyuki, frustrated, asks why they are still in Kamakura. Yorishige explains they're hiding until the path clears, and Tokiyuki, still unable to believe Takaoji's betrayal, grows suspicious of Yorishige's motives. Tokiyuki leaves to find any remaining members of the shogunate and overhears two men talking about Kunitoki's execution. He shouts that his brother is still alive, but the men are suspicious. Before Tokiyuki can reveal his true identity, Yorishige and Shizuku arrive. Yorishige tells the men that Tokiyuki is his apprentice and admires Kunitoki. The men reveal that Muneshige betrayed Kunitoki to the Nida army, selling him out for power. Kunitoki was beheaded, and Tokiyuki is devastated by the betrayal. Later, as Tokiyuki walks with Yorishige and Shizuku, he grapples with the realization that his family has turned against him. Yorishige offers his help to find Muneshige and take revenge. They observe Muneshige from a distance, and Yorishige warns that his cruel personality is pushing people away. Tokiyuki agrees to seek revenge, and Yorishige introduces two allies, Kojiro and Ayako, who will train him. After training, Muneshige confronts Tokiyuki, asking him to join his side. Tokiyuki questions him about the betrayal, and a fierce battle ensues. With his sharp reflexes and quick thinking, Tokiyuki dodges Muneshige's attacks, finally finding an opening and beheading him. Tokiyuki, Yorishige, and their companions are traveling together when Tokiyuki expresses his gratitude for their help in defeating Muneshige. He thanks them for their support in his first battle. Yorishige advises Tokiyuki to never abandon his pride as a Hojo orphan and to strive to be a warrior others can admire. If he does, Yorishige believes Tokiyuki will be able to defeat anyone in the game of tag. Tokiyuki vows to defeat Takoji. The next day, Tokiyuki finds himself trapped in a hole. Yorishige greets him there and explains why he put him in the hole. He then pulls Tokiyuki out and says it's time to begin his martial and academic training. Tokiyuki protests and tries to escape but ends up falling into another hole. Shizuku finds him there and encourages Tokiyuki to give Yorishige a chance. A few days later, Yorishige overhears a conversation between Ayako, Kojiro, and Shizuku about Tokiyuki. He explains that Tokiyuki is honest but lacks the desire to study due to his past. Yorishige is determined to prove he can help Tokiyuki achieve his goals. In the forest, Yorishige performs a dance to clear the skies, showing Tokiyuki his powers. He reveals that he has a 10,000-man army and the support of the Suwa sect, which believes in him as a god. Yorishige tells Tokiyuki that if he believes in him, others will follow. Tokiyuki agrees to study, but soon realizes he's been tricked by Yorishige. The group discusses their next steps. Kojiro suggests hunting, and they go into the forest, where they encounter an ox demon. They try to fight it, but have to retreat. Shizuku comes up with a plan, and Tokiyuki reluctantly leads the demon into a trap. They defeat it together and celebrate at a hot spring. Afterward, they choose the name Elusive Warriors for their group. They return to find that Yorishige has eaten the ox demon, and a disagreement follows. Takauji visits Emperor Godaigo, who praises him for his role in securing control over Kamakura and thanks him for his help in claiming power. Godaigo offers Takauji a new imperial court position, but Takauji requests that the positions be given to his retainers instead. Later, Takauji's steward, Morono, helps him get dressed and expresses concern about Takauji losing his humanity. Takauji dismisses this, asking Morono to focus on supporting Godaigo's cause. As Takauji hunts a boar, one of his men thanks him for recommending him for the role of governor of Shinano. Takauji acknowledges this man as the first to betray Tokiyuki's family and become one of his own retinue. Meanwhile, Tokiyuki struggles to clear an obstacle, but fails. Yorishige advises him not to focus on strength training, as it might dull his agility. Tokiyuki then impresses everyone by showcasing his archery skills, sharing stories of his past experiences. Yorishige decides they should focus on improving Tokiyuki's archery and teach him to fight while staying agile. Soon they receive news of Sadamune's arrival. Yorishige tells the group to hide in the shack while he meets Sadamune. Sadamune arrives, boasting of his new status and demanding that Yorishige hand over any Hojo clan members. Using his keen eyesight, Sadamune spots some suspicious figures watching from afar and shoots an arrow at one of the shrine maidens before leaving. Later, Yorishige shares his thoughts with Tokiyuki, explaining Sadamune's plans and suggesting Tokiyuki observe Sadamune's skills. The next day, the group participates in a dog shooting competition where Sadamune shows off his archery skills. He bets that if he wins, he will be allowed to search for Hojo clan members in the Suwa Grand Shrine. Yorishige accepts the challenge, but with a twist. Tokiyuki, under the alias Chojumaru, will face Sadamune in a duel. During the match, Tokiyuki uses Yorishige's tactics to dodge Sadamune's arrows and score points. Sadamune, frustrated, finally lands a shot to Tokiyuki's head. In the dog shooting competition, Sadamune is leading and Tokiyuki struggles to keep up. Yorishige advises Tokiyuki to combine his skills of evasion and shooting to defeat Sadamune. After a brief moment of thought, Tokiyuki takes a deep breath and shoots Sadamune in the neck, earning 2 points. Sadamune falls off his horse, and Tokiyuki seizes the opportunity, landing a perfect Parthian shot to win the match. Yorishige confronts Sadamune, reminding him of their deal. Angry, Sadamune storms off, contemplating his battle with Tokiyuki. He briefly wonders if Tokiyuki is a member of the Hojo family, but dismisses the thought, believing Yorishige wouldn't be foolish enough to reveal a Hojo. Yorishige then tells Tokiyuki that he has spread rumors of Hojo clan sightings across Japan to distract their enemies. Meanwhile, an elderly man shares his grievances with a young boy, Genba, passing on his name and advice. Yorishige, aware of the shifting political landscape, warns Tokiyuki of the upcoming challenges. Soon, Sadamune arrives with new orders from the emperor, stating that Yorishige must surrender lands north of Lake Suwa to the Ogasawara clan, and all retainers in those areas must relocate within 10 days. Yorishige refuses to go to war and asks Tokiyuki to recruit Genba to the Elusive Warriors. He also orders Tokiyuki to steal the Emperor's imperial command from Sadamune's home to buy them time. Tokiyuki, Ayano, Kojiro, and Shizuku travel to Kikyogahara village to find Genba. When they meet him, Genba initially considers betraying Tokiyuki for money, but Shizuku offers him a deal. Help them, and Tokiyuki will grant him a province. Genba agrees, but insists on taking Tokiyuki along for the heist. Together, they sneak into the warehouse where the Imperial command is kept. As they discuss their plan, Tokiyuki begins to suspect that Genba might have used his mask's abilities to discover his true identity. Inside the warehouse, Genba reveals his morphing mask and transforms into Tokiyuki, questioning whether Tokiyuki made a wise choice in trusting him. Meanwhile, someone is secretly watching them, preparing to report back to Sadamune. Genba realizes that Sadamune's men are approaching the warehouse, so he tells Tokiyuki to stay close and warns that he won't protect him. They quickly escape, and Genba uses a smoke projectile to cover their tracks. Once the smoke clears, Sadamune's men begin searching the area, but Genba and Tokiyuki have already fled into a nearby forest. One of Sadamune's men suspects they're hiding there, but Genba abandons Tokiyuki and tries to run. Just as a man tries to attack Genba, Tokiyuki saves him. They flee together, and Genba asks why Tokiyuki risked his life to save him. Tokiyuki explains that despite his doubts about Genba, he values him for his cleverness and doesn't plan to betray him. Meanwhile, Sadamune and his ally Sukafusa are searching the forest, determined to capture and kill the thieves. Just before Tokiyuki and Genba reach their horses, Sadamune fires an arrow at them. While Tokiyuki is wounded, they manage to dodge the shot. Genba then reveals his secret to Sadamune and Sukafusa. He's here to mess with them. He sabotages Sukafusa's hearing ability and starts hopping around, angering Sadamune. He tells them that burning the Imperial Command is a better plan than stealing it, and soon the warehouse goes up in flames. Genba and his allies escape, leaving Sadamune furious and realizing he's been tricked. Later, Genba, Ayano, and Kojiro regroup, with Tokiyuki unconscious on Ayano's horse. Genba reflects on his father's advice and warns Tokiyuki that if he doesn't pay him back with a province, there will be consequences. Genba demands Tokiyuki take back the country from Emperor Godaigo. Back at their camp, Sadamune is frustrated about the lost imperial command, but vows to get another within a month. Meanwhile, the Suwa people celebrate, relieved that their territory is safe. Yorishige thanks Tokiyuki and the elusive warriors for their efforts, while Koshiro wonders if they could take down Takauji. However, Yorishige suggests that Tokiyuki should first study Takauji's character. The story then shifts to Takauji, who confronts Prince Moriyoshi and his men. Takauji slays many of them, and Moriyoshi, fearing Takauji's power, flees. Meanwhile, Tokiyuki is alerted by Ayano that Genba is causing more trouble. Tokiyuki thanks Yorishige for his support and vows to stop Genba before he causes any more problems. Kojiro, Ayako, Shizuku, Genba, and Tokiyuki visit a frozen lake for some outdoor fun. While the kids enjoy their time on the ice, Yorishige stays at home, feeling uncertain about the future at this time of year. Meanwhile, Sadamune and his ally Sukafusa arrive at Shinano's governor's residence, where they meet a man named Shokan. Sadamune hires Shokan to steal a piece of Suwa territory, and Shokan accepts the job, knowing Sadamune's power is growing. Back in Suwa, the residents worry that their enemies are spying on them. They need a scout, but the best one is already on a mission. Tokiyuki volunteers, and with his friends, they set out to investigate. Yorishige warns them not to take on the task, but the residents insist, and Tokiyuki and his team are allowed to go. Before they leave, Yorishige gives them supplies, though his odd behavior raises some concerns. The group heads to Nakayama Manor, only to be ambushed by a swordsman, Fubuki, who attacks Kojiro and Ayako. Torches are lit around them, and they wonder if the enemy has already taken control of the area. Genba urges Tokiyuki to run, but Tokiyuki believes his friends can handle the fight. Fubuki recognizes Shizuku, recalling that she once fed him. He apologizes for attacking and shares that the land they're in was once home to many adults, all of whom are now dead. The children left behind have become skilled fighters, setting traps and using strategies to protect themselves. Fubuki expresses his desire to serve a lord who can put their talents to use and leads Tokiyuki and the others to his hideout. There, they learn about the enemy's attack plans. Tokiyuki wants to recruit Fubuki, hoping that with his training, he can gain the respect of Kojiro and Ayako. Shizuku suggests they leave the village for safety, but Tokiyuki refuses. He wants to protect the children and help them fight. Fubuki agrees to work together, and they prepare for the upcoming battle. Meanwhile, Shokan and his allies torture prisoners to strengthen their resolve for Sadamune's mission. Fubuki gathers his friends, including Tokiyuki, to share his battle plan. Shizuku assists Fubuki and informs Ayako and Genba about their roles. As everyone discusses the plan, Tokiyuki pulls Fubuki aside for a sparring match. Fubuki is impressed by Tokiyuki's agility, but soon realizes that Tokiyuki isn't a skilled swordsman. Tokiyuki, however, praises Fubuki's abilities and shares his desire to improve his swordsmanship. Fubuki, seeing his determination, promises to teach him the Demon Heart Buddha Blade technique, a powerful skill meant for one-on-one duels. Fubuki believes their chances of winning are high and explains why. The battle begins with Shizuku's forces launching arrows at Shokan's army. Shokan is impressed by the enemy's tactics, while Fubuki admires his own force's skill. But Shokan and his companions, Foron, Shiro, and Byakatsu, manage to break through the traps and arrows, infiltrating the village. Though others survive, Shokan insists that he and his trio will handle this phase of the mission. Fubuki watches from a distance, acknowledging their strength. Ayako and Kojiro set an ambush to kill Shokan but struggle to land a blow due to his armor. They lead him into Tokiyuki's hideout, lock the door behind him, and flee. Kojiro reassures Ayako, telling her to trust Fubuki's plan, which will allow Tokiyuki to face Shokan alone. Inside the hideout, Tokiyuki confronts Shokan, accusing him of ordering the slaughter of the village's parents. Shokan admits it and explains his reasoning. Fubuki teaches Tokiyuki how to use a sword with agility and finesse. Tokiyuki puts this new technique to use, landing a precise cut on Shokan's wrist. Impressed, Shokan vows to kill Tokiyuki before he loses consciousness. Tokiyuki smiles, unsettling Shokan even more. Meanwhile, Kojiro and Ayako face one of Shokan's comrades in battle. The comrade overwhelms them, mocking Ayako and revealing how Shokan trained him when he recruited him. He insults Yorishige, but Kojiro retorts, saying they now serve a new leader. Just then, Shizuku arrives, speaking fondly of Yorishige and contrasting him with Shokan's comrade. Using a device to shoot paper-like projectiles, Shizuku distracts the enemy. Motivated, Kojiro charges and injures the comrade, while Ayako seizes the moment to behead him. Back in the main fight, Tokiyuki continues to evade Shokan's attacks with his elusive tactics, frustrating the older warrior. At the same time, Fubuki and Furan are locked in their own battle. Fubuki notices Furan's unique sword style but realizes Furan doesn't fully understand how to use it effectively. When Furan charges, Fubuki swiftly slits his throat. Shokan, bleeding and desperate, realizes he can't win and fears death. He confesses to Tokiyuki that he's stolen territories throughout his life, only to be left with nothing. Seeing something of a Buddha within Tokiyuki, Shokan admits defeat and collapses. Kojiro, Ayako, and Fubuki congratulate Tokiyuki for his victory. Just then, Sadamune arrives with reinforcements. The situation grows tense as Sadamune, Ayako, and Kojiro argue. Fubuki, meanwhile, begins to consider their next move. Soon, Yorishige, Genba, and Suwa's army arrive, forcing Sadamune to retreat with Shokan's forces. Yorishige embraces Tokiyuki, relieved he's survived. Despite their differences, Sadamune tells Shokan he'll grant him a small territory, preparing for future battles. Tokiyuki asks Yorishige to reward Fubuki for his service, offering him a place among his retainers. Fubuki, however, refuses, saying he'll only serve Yorishige as his lord. The truth about Tokiyuki's family comes to light, and Tokiyuki apologizes for keeping it secret. Fubuki finally agrees to join Tokiyuki, but warns him that his millet fee will be high. Tokiyuki and the people of Suwa gathered to pray for the soldiers who had lost their lives. Afterward, Yorishige pulled Tokiyuki aside to thank him for his help and promised to station guards to protect the village. He also told Tokiyuki that the Suwa people would take care of the village's orphans and lead them to the Suwa Grand Shrine. Yorishige then shared a personal secret with Tokiyuki. He had been struggling with his powers due to a problem with his future sight. He asked Tokiyuki to keep this between them. Yorishige explained that his powers came from a special source, and Tokiyuki agreed to help him. To help Yorishige regain his abilities, Tokiyuki visited Ayako and Kojiro to ask for an eel, a food Yorishige had once used to restore his strength. However, the plan didn't work. Yorishige then sent Tokiyuki on a quest to collect several items from the people of Suwa. After gathering everything, Tokiyuki traveled to a secret part of the Suwa Grand Shrine to help perform a ritual. The ritual involved creating a shrine maiden doll, and Yorishige believed it would help him regain his powers. Meanwhile, Tokiyuki's allies observed from a distance, mistakenly thinking he was doing something improper with the doll. When Tokiyuki returned to Yorishige, he was frustrated and demanded answers. Yorishige sent him on another task to fetch special water, claiming it would help restore his powers. On the way, Tokiyuki encountered Shizuku, who performed a mysterious Kagura dance and explained that she had danced with unseen entities. After a strange moment where Shizuku kissed Tokiyuki, he saw golden creatures, divine beasts. Shizuku helped him collect the water, and Tokiyuki reflected on the strange experience. Finally, back with Yorishige, Tokiyuki learned that human awareness of the land could make divine powers fade away. Yorishige's powers returned, and he warned Tokiyuki that this would be the last era where gods and divine beings could be used. He encouraged Tokiyuki to live his life fully, then humorously used Tokiyuki's doll to punish himself. Tokiyuki and his friends arrived at Shinano farming village, where they discussed the upcoming barley harvesting festival. However, their peaceful arrival was soon interrupted by Yonemaru, who was harassing a local resident, demanding the second stock of barley. Sadamune, standing with Kiyohara, reminded him that only the first crop could be taxed. But Kiyohara, arrogantly claiming the emperor granted him his position, decided to ignore the rule and ordered his men to kill the farmer who begged for his barley back. Later, Yorishige informed Tokiyuki that Hoshina had raised an army to fight Kiyohara, but he believed it would fail. He also explained that reinforcements couldn't be sent, so Tokiyuki and his friends were tasked with convincing Hoshina to stop fighting and help them escape danger. Kojiro disagreed, but Yorishige explained the benefits of the mission. Tokiyuki, Genba, Kojiro, and Fubuki set off toward Kawanaka to meet Hoshina. Upon arriving, they met Hoshina, who declared he was ready to die rather than submit to Kiyohara. Tokiyuki, scared to confront such prideful men, hesitated. But when Shinomiya, one of Hoshina's neighbors, greeted them, Tokiyuki handed him a letter from the Suwa Grand Shrine. Shinomiya agreed to help, offering support and promising to gather more people if needed. As the battle began, Kiyohara's forces attacked, and Hoshina's men suffered casualties. Genba created a smokescreen by burning some barley, leveling the playing field. Kojiro stepped in to help Hoshina's men, and Tokiyuki watched, hoping this act would convince Hoshina to retreat. Eventually, Tokiyuki confronted Hoshina, urging him to back down. Despite his efforts, Hoshina refused, but when Shinomiya spoke to him, Hoshina relented and promised to regroup and strategize for a comeback. Meanwhile, Kiyohara, angered by Yonemaru's failure, plotted to eliminate Hoshina and his allies for good. As Tokiyuki and Kojiro traveled, they noticed Yonemaru's forces lurking behind them. Kiyohara's men were hot on Tokiyuki and Kojiro's trail, with Yonemaru leading the charge. He ordered his troops to kill every man and divide the women and children among them. Kojiro had once told Tokiyuki that they needed to defeat Yonemaru and his squad. Fubuki, however, had a different idea. He suggested they manipulate Yonemaru to weaken Kiyohara's forces. He believed that dividing their enemy's troops could give them an advantage, especially with Hoshina's men struggling on flat land. Yonemaru and his army arrived at a mountaintop, but they soon realized they had walked into a trap. Genba had disguised himself as Yonemaru, using his morphing abilities. Tokiyuki understood the situation and briefed the team on Kojiro's plan. Kojiro wanted to carry out a hit-and-run strategy, using his agility to retreat to higher ground and support his allies. But first, he needed to gather a few people to stop Kiyohara's men from abducting women and children. As Kojiro prepared, he noticed Fubuki acting strangely. After a quick check, Fubuki revealed he was hungry, so Kojiro fed him before sending him back to his post. Meanwhile, Yonemaru confronted Kojiro, and the two engaged in a fierce horseback duel. Despite being outmatched, Kojiro was motivated by Tokiyuki's faith in him. With a final push, Kojiro managed to wound Yonemaru, and when his opponent let his guard down, Kojiro struck, killing him. Meanwhile, Kiyohara, caught in a fog, was confused by the turn of events. Sukafusa advised him to move his main army to protect the women and children, but Kiyohara insisted on staying, believing his enemy wouldn't attack him. Hoshina, hearing that the women and children had retreated to safety, signaled his forces to retreat as well. As the battle ended, Tokiyuki, Kojiro, Fubuki, and Hoshina rode together, relieved by their success. Kojiro explained he hadn't decapitated Yonemaru, respecting the lessons he learned in battle. Though Hoshina had lost his territory, seeing the smiles on the women and children's faces felt like a victory to him.